let me tell you about Paul. He phoned me up on a wet Sunday afternoon. I was driving down from Manchester after having seen my parents, and it was the 6th of January 2006, I remember. And he ran a print business, been going for about 14 years, and he was about 4 weeks from pulling in the liquidator. They were in the diary, and he didn't really want to, but he felt that he had no choice. And what was interesting was that he had 7 staff, good customer base, but he just lost a big client, a £300,000 a year client on a 665,000 turnover. So it was a huge hit, and he was terrified. And actually, the real reason he was terrified wasn't because he was going to have to go and get a proper job. It wasn't that he was going to have to lay 7 people off. It was that he was going to have to take his daughters out of a really nice school they were happy in, sell the house, take them out of it was a private school, but he was going to have to take them out of that school, and as a result, put them into a local what they call comprehensive school. But it wasn't that it was a comprehensive, it was the fact that they had security guards and metal detectors because of knives and other forms of weaponry. And he was terrified that he was going to have to put his girls into a school like that. As it turned out, he started coming down. He lived up in Derby, and he came down to see me, and he started working the following Thursday with me, and it was just a joy to work with Paul because he was driven. He's an ex-Royal Marine, and just one of the nicest people you will ever meet. He's just so kind, so generous, so genuine, and he really wanted to look after his people, and he felt driven to get better, to improve his sales so that he could put food on their tables as well. Now, within 5 weeks, we had him going from an £8,000 a month loss to break even. Within a year, he was turning over 762,000, I think, and he now does about 2.8 million. And he was making, last I spoke to him, about 32% net profit, selling print to retailers in the worst recession in history. He's grown his business from 7 to 28 people. They had to move to a factory next door. They had to put in another printing press. In fact, they were the 4th company in the world to buy HP's biggest printer. And he now educates the HP sales force on how to sell it, which is interesting, although I always wish he'd brought me in to do that. But he's a lovely guy, very driven, focused on results, but also good with people, and took direction. It was just a joy to work with him. So we'd speak in 2 or 3 times a week. He'd come to training, and when he was driving or taking the train back to Derby, sometimes we'd do evening sessions in London, and he'd be going up by train, and I'd be coaching him up till midnight or 1 o'clock. And he put it into action straight away. And I remember one time he'd been taken off a preferred supplier list by a big purchasing group. And I taught him how to get back in. And he phoned up his sponsor within the organisation and said, Michelle, I'm really sorry. I've obviously let you down. I feel terrible that we've been taken off the list. Yeah. What do you mean you've been taken off the list? Anyway, 3 hours later, he was back on the list, and he picked up Sainsbury's and Royal Bank of Scotland as clients for 300 grand a year. Now, he was just a joy to work with. He was hard-working. He took direction. Everything was on the line for him when he came to me, and he was really serious as a heart attack, if you like, to get the business up and running. And he's built it into being a very strong business. He keeps being approached to sell it. Doesn't want to at the moment. I think ultimately he might end up doing what I do, which would be lovely. Can't wait to have him in the business. But what's the best? You know what the best thing was? he phoned me up about 7 years after we started working together to say thank you, and he's always very sweet. I said, Paul, we haven't worked together for 3 years. I said, why are you saying thank you? He said, just to let you know that Hattie got the Year 6 art prize. What's that got to do with me? He says, well, if I hadn't worked with you, I'd have had to take her out of school. She got the Year 6 art prize because of the work that we did together, because I managed to save the business, keep them at school. And we've just moved house, so our house now backs onto the playing fields of the school they're at. So all the girls have to do is fall out of bed, wash and get out and walk across the playing field to go to their school. And it looks like Hattie's going to be head girl. Now, that to me was thrilling.